My name is Haley Joyle Smith, and I'm the program director here at the Ecovillage Training Center, Summertown, Tennessee, at the farm. And I want to share with you a little thing I've set up for myself to really test what it means to live a little more resilient, a little more sustainable. And in this space and in this time of my life, I've been really focused on the systems around water, our toilet systems, the byproduct of what we eat and what we drink, where does it go, and how do we use it, so it's not something that we're just wasting. So I wanted a little privacy in my own space as well, and I built a little toilet. So come and see my toilet. Here we are. It's an older TV stand, and below here we have a urine diversion system. So what happens is I can pull this funnel out. It's really simple. You could make this for yourself if you just want to be good about separating your golden harvest, your golden opportunity. Your urine is filled with nutrients and sulfates and potassium and minerals, and it's something that we can offer back to the earth. It's pretty pathogen free, it's benign in that regard, but it has perhaps a golden opportunity for the plants, your compost, and the trees all around. So in a second we'll dilute this because we don't want to burn them with too much nitrogen, and before we do that I will show you in here. So this is the second part of it. This is the separation. This is the poop bucket. And that's where the pathogens are. This is also where the fiber is. And there's no smell at all. And in part of that is because I cover it really well. And I cover it with a mixture of dried sawdust. We get this from the homage. It's a byproduct, so it's free. And then we make a biochar. Biochar is very similar to charcoal. It absorbs any odors. It also is a home for millions of little microbes that help to process and break down our byproduct. So I just cover my deposit there, and it sits there. It takes a couple weeks to fill up. And then when it's done, I can remove that bucket, so we're calling this container-based sanitation, and I'll take it to the shout house, which I'll show you in a minute. And now we're going to fill this up with some water. Here we are in our organic garden, and we can go in here, and I could put this directly on the cover crop or the compost. And I think in this moment, because I diluted it so well, we're going to go right for the cover crop. So I am aware that we recently had some rains. If this was really dry, I would want to water right after. And sometimes it's even good to water anyways, particularly if it's a little more concentrated. And this is a cover crop. It's just here for the winter. We're not going to be eating this. We've got some clover and some flowers and some radishes. And so I'm just going to kind of pour it all along. Pathogen-free, nutrient-rich fertilizer. Straight from me, completing the nutrient cycle. Yay! Alright, so here we are at the shout house. We call it that because the outhouse is upstairs and the showers are downstairs. It's a bit of an earth closet. It's an earth closet because we're not using water. We're using biochar and sawdust. We're using earth to cover our... So this is a naturally built, meaning that we've got plaster and straw bale behind the plaster here. We're using cedar. Cedar is naturally resistant to weathering, and it also smells good, so that's a bonus. So if we come inside... Here we are, and we've got, it looks pretty. We don't want a whole lot of light because the light actually attracts the flies. So we've got our toilet, and if we look down in here, Yep, there's toilet paper, and you don't really see any poop, but you do see our straw and sawdust and some biochar, which is what we have. Now we've got our hand washing facility, and out back we have a wetlands. So our gray water is all being taken care of naturally in a series of different ponds. And then we can go look at what happens after a couple of years of our byproduct, our poop and our pee being mixed with our sawdust, what happens to it and how we remove it. So here we're on the back side of the shout house, and this is our access point to what is turning into human manure. It's the decomposed, dried out, and desiccated poop and pee that's mixed with the paper and the sawdust and the biochar, and all the different biology that's been happening over time has really processed it to the point that it's not recognizable as anything that would come out of you. Now, then we end up putting it in a 55-gallon drum. This is kind of an extra measure where it goes through cycles of heating and cooling over a period of about a year or so. At this point, we could just directly use it on things like bamboo or ornamental plants. But what we can also do, and do sometimes, is integrate it into vermiculture. So that's our red worm-based composting system. So we're able to add to their system some carbon and some nutrients, and they further move it into an even richer product of humus and worm castings. And thus we're able to really capture the energy that comes out of us and offer it back to the earth so that more plants and food can grow. And I'd venture to say in some ways it's a bit of a spiritual practice, to be mindful of the energy that we take from the earth and make a practice to do what we can to offer back.